a senior researcher regarding the rebirth of Hebrew medicine, also the Essene way, the path of righteousness. This is the research that we have done from my doctorate that I did from the Center of Biblical Research under Dr. William Bean. What we were testing was to make sure that the instructions of Torah regarding the prohibition of linen and wool together was factual, or if it was just a old wives' tale. In other words, is it something that we could prove with science, or was it something that would be just found to be nothing? Because a lot of people wear wool and linen together. There's also the instructions in Torah for the priesthood to wear all linen, and they were prohibited to wear wool into the sanctuary. So we were thinking, let's find out what happens. I traveled to Texas in the invitation of Dr. Carl Baugh of Creation Evidences Museum, and to be at the house of Bob Summers, who's a famous Texan artist. We had an audience there to watch the testing of wool and linen placed together. So what we had was a linen textile, and then we had a wool sweater, for example. And we used a digital machine that was invented by Bob Graham. He called it an ag environ machine. And we tested what happens with linen alone, and we tested what happens with wool alone. Then we tested what happens when they're put together. Again, this was before an audience, and needless to say, we were quite shocked. The digital reading was up to 5,000 for the wool, and we were thinking, oh, wool is very high energy. We tested 100% linen, and it also went up to 5,000.
Linen also has some qualities to it that it cannot be worn because it has the resonance units of energy of about 5,000. Wool also has a resonance of about 5,000. God loves both fabrics. His favorite is linen. But because they're both strong, you cannot wear them together because they have different polarities. They have different directions that they go. So when you put them together, it collapses the field because it conflicts with the direction and it collapses. So it's not helpful to anybody. That's why in Leviticus it talks about not wearing linen and wool together. And I think it's ironic that they sometimes put wool inserts in the back of all the linen they put on men's jackets. All have a wool piece that helps the color stand up, and it cancels out the benefit of wearing the linen jacket. It's very interesting how in this day and age we have forgotten a lot of people's talits, and a lot of these things are with blended fabrics. And they're missing the beauty of having it 100%.
Not to mix wool and linen. And back then, those are the main, textile that existed during that day. They didn't have all the man-made materials that we have today. So when we wear certain materials, we have a benefit. When you're wearing all linen, then there's that wholeness. If you're wearing just all wool, there's this wholeness. We have to do our due diligence in making sure that when we buy clothing, that we don't buy clothing that has a tendency to contradict itself in the energy and in the support that it can give to our bodies. So when we buy linen, we make sure it's 100% linen. If we buy wool, it is all wool.
And for people who are languishing in injury or hurt, we have some hope for them. My friend called me and she said, "Wouldn't you believe it? I cut my tendon on my hand and I was in so much pain." And she put a Band-Aid on it after she got it to stop bleeding. And she was in pain. And then one of our friends said, "You know better. You're supposed to put linen on it." So she put a linen cloth around it to wrap it, and immediately the pain left. Whereas when she had a polyester or plastic bandage on that wound, she was in a lot of pain. So linen has pain-relieving properties as well as being something that increases your energy field and helps you with living a high energy or healthy battery effect.